Hare Krishna. So, we would like to invite and welcome a very wonderful Vaishnava. I asked for introduction. Prabhuji has given very short introduction. However, you will realize that we are getting blessings today of Shri Radha Gopinath ji through Prabhuji of a such deep spiritual wisdom, which Prabhuji will bless us within such short time. So, Prabhuji is His Grace Sri Radha Raman Prabhu. Prabhuji is connected to Sri Radha Gopinath ji, Sri Radha Gopinath temple from last 3 decades, from last 30 years. He is disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And Prabhuji is blessed with multiple talents. Gopinath ji has blessed him expertise in Sanskrit, expertise in mantra chanting, expertise in yajna, expertise in multiple Vedic realms, Vedic dimensions. And Prabhuji is also translating books from Sanskrit to other languages. And Prabhuji in material circle is in a very big post. He is the managing director in HSBC Bank, taking care of 55 countries in the world, having more than 20,000 people working under him. So all those many credits Prabhuji is having. However, in heart of the heart, very simple, humble Vaishnava. He had been instrumental in organizing the first conference for His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj and the corporate world for HSBC employees. He had organized in London. So after that, corporate wing of preaching of Radhanath Maharaj from Radha Gopinath temple and other places has started. So we are very much blessed to have him. Let's welcome Prabhuji in traditional style by loudly chanting 3 times. Haribo, Haribo, Haribo.
Thank you. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunathira Vanachari Yamunathira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodhanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Thira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parvichakacharya Astotra Sachishtimant His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai सब प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय तुलसी महारानी की जय भक्ति देवी की जय समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय निथाय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Is it possible that I could see the beauty? Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 11, text number 30, 31, Calculation of Time from the Atom. So I'll just read the first verse and then we'll repeat together the verse after. Trilokyam dahyamanayam shaktya sangharshanagnina yantya ushmana maharlokaj janam bhrigavadayorditaha. Oh, you have this together? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I thought we were reciting the next verse together. Let's do this again. Trilokyam dahayamanayam Shaktya Sangharshagnagninā Yantya Ushmana Maharlokaj Janam Bhrigavadayorditaha Trilokyam Dahyamanayam Shaktya Sangharshagnagninā Yantya Ushmana Maharlokaj Janam Bhrigavadayorditaha Thank you, Mataji's, please. Okay, word for word. Trilokyam. When the spheres of the three worlds, Dahyamanayam, being set ablaze, Shaktya, by the potency, Sankarshana, from the mouth of Sankarshana, Anantasesh, Agnina, by the fire, Yanti, they go, Ushmana, heated by the warmth, Mahalokat, from Maharlok, Janam to Janalok, Bhrigu, the sage Bhrigu, Adayaha, and others, Araditaha, being so distressed. Translation. The devastation takes place due to the fire emanating from the mouth of Sankarshana, and thus great sages like Bhrigu and other inhabitants of Maharlok transport themselves to Janalok, being distressed by the warmth of the blazing fire which rages through the three worlds below. Verse number 31. Tavat tribhuvanam sadhyaha kalpante dhita santindavaha plavayantya utkatatopa chandavateritormayaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. At the beginning of the devastation, all the seas overflow and hurricane winds blow very violently. Thus, the waves of the seas become ferocious, and in no time at all, the three worlds are full of water. Purport. It is said that the blazing fire from the mouth of Sankarshana rages for 100 years of the demigods, or 36,000 human years, Then, for another 36,000 years, there are torrents of rain, accompanied by violent winds and waves, and the seas and oceans overflow. These reactions of 72,000 years are the beginning of the partial devastation of the three worlds. People forget all these devastations of the worlds and think themselves happy in the material progress of civilization. This is called Maya, or that which is not. Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadapayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guron Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sahabadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. It is such a pleasure, and I'm so excited to be here today after 18 years. Radhanathasya Shishyoham, a very small, insignificant follower and disciple of Om Vishnupad Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Shri Radha Raman Dasaha, named Shri Radha Raman Das, Namami Prabhupada Akhyam, offers his obeisances to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Chaitanya Karyam Siddhyartham, for being the person who fulfilled the prediction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vanchakalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. This chapter is so complex, but we're going to make it very simple to understand. The art of the Bhagavatam is to try to explain difficult concepts concisely. So today, we're going to be studying the vertical Loka ladder. You've heard of the yoga ladder in the Gita? So today we are going to be discussing the vertical Loka ladder. And this is a synergy of cosmology and theology. Perfect subject for a Saturday morning at Radha Gopinath temple. So the background is so beautiful. As we know in the Gita, Lord Krishna explains that bhutva bhutva praliyate, that the material universe continuously comes into being and leaves, exits the atmosphere of the paravyoma, the spiritual sky. Because the Mahat Tattva, or the aggregate ingredients of the material universe, are just like a dark cloud amongst many beautiful clouds in the sky of Vaikuntha. And on the boundary of the spiritual world is the sacred river Viraja. And Viraja is the form of Srimati Radha Rani, who appeared as a gopi to trick Krishna. And that story you can read in the Brahma Vivarta Puran. And when Krishna was tricked by Sri Radha Rani, then this gopi named Viraja became the sacred rivers surrounding the Vaikuntha planets. Why does Viraja surround the Vaikuntha planets? Because only someone who is devoted to Krishna and his various forms can enter. So she's actually the true Jai and Vijay of Vaikuntha, Gopi Viraja. And on the other side of the boundaries of the Viraja river is then the manifestation of the Mahat Tattva. And when Lord Brahma creates the universe, then we have the vertical structure of the Loka ladder. So we're going to go through this very concisely. But essentially, what happens is Brahma's lifespan is for 100 of his years. Similarly, even in human life, lifespan is meant to be 100 years. So if you don't make it to 100, you've done something wrong. Either your diet or your lifestyle has not been so optimal. So everybody has a target, in fact, of reaching 100 years. So has Lord Brahma as well. So what happens is, when Lord Brahma goes to sleep, the universe also goes to sleep. In the same way that the lights go off at night time and you close the curtains, the two lights of the universe, the sun and the moon, they switch off. Making sense? Sun and moon switch off the lights of the universe. And that is when there is darkness, and in that darkness, Brahma goes to sleep. Now, when I, or perhaps some of you, go to sleep, not much happens. But when Lord Brahma goes to sleep, something happens. 2 billion miles deep into the core of the material universe is the Garbhodak ocean. And in the Garbhodak ocean, Lord Balaram manifests himself as Anantasesh. And in the verse, the name is known as Sankarshana. Why is Sankarshana used and not Anantasesh? To foster the connectivity of Lord Balaram in the form of Ananta. Therefore, Sankarshana is used. Because Sankarshana actually means one who is removed from the womb and placed into another. Sankarshana. That obviously is Balaram. But Anantasesh is called Balaram to make that connection in this verse. He opens his mouth, and from his mouth, fire emanates. And when this fire emanates, while Lord Brahma has just started to fall asleep, that fire rises upwards. And the fire then burns Trilok. Okay? The bottom of the vertical Loka ladder. Bhur, Bhuva, and Swaha. This fire only reaches up to the 3rd level, Swarglok. It doesn't go further than that. It's a very important point to understand. Why does the fire only reach Swarglok? Because Bhulok, which is earth, Bhuvalok, which is the realms of the semi-gods. So you have demigods, we also have semi-gods. And the semi-gods are, for example, Rakshasas. Did you ever imagine Rakshasas are better than humans? Can you believe? They're more advanced than us. So when you call someone a Rakshas, be careful, huh? They're quite advanced. Rakshasas, Kinnaras, Gandharvas, Yakshas, Pishachas, Siddhas, Charanas, they are all residents of Bhuvar Lok. And they actually have three things in common. Number one, they have subtle bodies, so they're invisible. Number two, they have international free roaming. No charge. Jahan bhi jaye. They can roam anywhere. They come to Earth, they go to the 7 hellish planets, beginning with Patal. They go up the 7 hellish planets into Earth, and from Earth they can roam around in the Antariksha, and from the Antariksha they can also go to Swarglok. But what is important to note is, how does one become a semi-god? It's very important. First thing is unleft work. If you are attached to people, if you are attached to activities that you did not complete in your life, you will come back as a Rakshasa, or a Pishach, or a Gandharva, or a Kinnara. You become bodiless with free roaming. Okay? The second reason, see, this attachment point is very important. I was recently speaking to one of my Mosijis, and I was telling her that in India, see, because I'm not born in India, I can say a few things, because I'm from the outside, so I can see in and have a view. In India, so many concepts are just fabrication. For example, in the context of my discussion a few days ago, there is a saying that when you get married for 7 lives, right? Life after life, life after life. That's not true. Okay? You'll be very happy to hear that, some of you, okay? The Grihastha ashram does not begin from birth. The Grihastha ashram does not begin by wearing white. The Grihastha ashram begins when somebody who has taken saffron from birth studies how to become a graduate. Only a brahmachari who has graduated in the Vedic culture, having studied the Samhitas, the Vedas, only a successful brahmachari is awarded white. You understand? This has been the culture for billions of years. At the Samavartana Sanskar, the brahmachari is given 2 threads, one for himself, one for his future wife. At the Samavartana Sanskar, the brahmachari is given shoes, an umbrella, earrings, and white cloth. And then, at the Samavartana Sanskar, the brahmachari then begins the Grihastha ashram from the day of Vivaha. There is no concept of being a Grihastha before the Vivaha Sanskar. I'll give you an example. Please raise your hands if you are initiated. Okay. Please raise your hands if you know the vows of initiation. Simple vows. Very good. Please raise your hands if you are married. Please keep your hands up if you know the vows of marriage. Prame patiyanaha pantaha kalpatam Shiva arishtha patilokam gameyam. इसका अर्थ क्या है? जिसने हाथ ऊपर किया था विवाह संस्कार में, ये सबसे पहला नियम है, सबसे पहला वचन है. इसका अर्थ क्या है? Prame patiyanaha pantaha kalpatam. I am contemplating to step on the path of my husband, who is a qualified brahmachari and is now becoming a grihastha. Shiva adishtha patilokam gameyam. May I enter into my husband's family and life by the blessings of Lord Shri Krishna in the form of Lord Shiva. So like this, there are 50 vows. And the brahmachari, he studies all of these vows because these are not Purana mantras. These are not mantras spoken in the scriptures. These are Veda mantras. Very complex mantras. Somo dadad gandharvaya gandharvadagnaye raincha putragams chadad agnir mayhyam ato imam. Second vow. Every female from birth is looked after by Lord Shiva. When that female becomes into the years of adolescence, then Somo Dadad Gandharvaya, Lord Shiva hands the female to the Gandharvas. And the Gandharvas bestow all beauty, knowledge, skills, opulence, qualification to every female in the adolescent years. Then Gandharvo Dadad Agnaye. This is in Rig Veda. Then Gandharva, once the female has been placed in a position with all qualifications given without any training by the celestials, then Agni becomes the guardian of every female. Because the most precious person in planet Earth are females. Therefore, Agni covers and protects the female. And on the day of Vivaha, that is the only reason why Agni is set ablaze. Because Agni Mayhyam Ato Imam. Agni, who is looking after this female from being contaminated, from being completely free from all offenses, absolutely pure, protected. Agni then hands the female to the brahmachari for marriage. And like this, vow after vow after vow is taken by the brahmachari in order to become a grihastha. And like this, there are dozens of vows. But it is very important that in the same way that we know the vows of initiation, it is unacceptable to not know the vows of vivaha. Because without the vows of vivaha, you don't know how to carry out the grihastha ashram. It's very important. To be a grihastha is no joke. This is why the Dharma Shastras state that amongst all of the ashrams, the grihastha ashram is the most superior ashram. Because it maintains all of the ashrams and it keeps the continuation of the purposes of material existence, which is to cultivate one's lost consciousness of Krishna, regain a relationship, and return back to him. These are only possible by the grihasthas. Therefore, it is no joke. Therefore, anyone who is married, you should go home and study the vows. Then you'll know what the ethics and the values are of being a grihastha. Yatra nadyastu pujyante namanti sarva devataha. In an idol grihastha ashram, there is no space for even one argument between husband and wife. Because the first argument exits the celestials and brings in poverty, disease, untimely death, and every negative force. I'm really proud to say that after 21 years of marriage, I've never had an argument in my life. It is not because I'm special, but it's because I have studied the Vedas, the Vivaha Samskar, and the vows of marriage. And then, having understood the vows, just like I know my vows committed to my spiritual master 30 years ago, then I can reflect upon them in times of challenges. I can reflect upon them during my Grihastha ashram to make sure that I align with the intent of marriage. So this is a lesson for all devotees. Take the Grihastha ashram very seriously. It is not a way out, it's a way in. And the vows are very important to understand. Why did I give this sermon? Because one ends up in Bhuvarlok if one doesn't know their vows. And if they make mistakes as a Grihastha. And if they breach the expectations of Lord Krishna. There is a limitation that devotees have from my personal observation, which includes myself. And that is, sometimes Krishna can become a figment of one's imagination. How we see ourselves is how we portray ourselves upon Lord Krishna. But please note, there has never been, and there will never be, an opinionated person more than Krishna in this world. If you read the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is very clear what he expects of Arjuna. If you read the Mahabharata, Krishna is very clear on what he accepts and what he doesn't accept. And sometimes, before you fall in love with somebody, it is good to try to get to know the character of the person you're falling in love with, because there may actually be a misalignment. You see? So there are so many things that I can share with you where Krishna has very differing views on perhaps our conduct. And this you can understand when you read about how Lord Krishna engaged with his devotees. Even Arjuna had once blasphemed Lord Krishna. Even Arjuna had considered himself more capable of rescuing the sons of the Brahmins. And this is why Acharya Madhva, in his Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnay, from his perspective, when he compares Arjuna to Bhima, he states that Bhima is supreme. Bhima is superior. Because Bhima never ever questioned Krishna. Bhima never ever doubted Krishna. Bhima was always the first person who stood to dharma samsthapanarthaya, to establish religion. Bhima was always the first person to speak up. Bhima was always the first person to execute. And this is why, in the same way that Hanumanji was the most superior servant of Lord Ram, Acharya Madhva states, Hanuman came as Bhima to assist Lord Krishna in dharma samsthapanarthaya. But the way in which Mumbai, Bollywood, or India portray characters of the Mahabharata does not align with the scriptures. That's not going to be. Because all media is to try to get followers, votes, yes, popularity. They will not align with the scriptures because that will do the opposite. You see? So you have to be very careful on what your sources of information are. Acharya Madhva goes into a lot of detail to explain this. And therefore he mentions that Bhima knew the Gita before Arjuna. And he was already in advanced stage. Despite Arjuna carrying out a nimit, being an instrument to invoke the Bhagavad Gita, nevertheless, Bhima never portrayed any ignorance. One other example that Acharya Madhva gives in the Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnay, the only thematic commentary on the Mahabharata, he explains that in the presence of Lord Krishna, Arjuna rejected the empowerment by Krishna and took the shelter of the demigods to fight everyone. This is why Arjuna would invoke Pashupatashtra, Brahmastra, Brahmashira, Narayanastra, Agnyastra, Vayavastra. The list is long. How many divine weapons did Bhim invoke? None. Because all he needed was the blink and the smile of Lord Krishna. So like this, Madhvacharya goes into so much detail. Bhim never ever took the shelter of the devatas. Never ever did he touch any type of worship or prayer. He was always in Shuddha Bhakti. He is an example of pure devotional service in the Mahabharata pastimes of Lord Krishna. I can give you hundreds of more examples because Madhvacharya does exactly that. The point of explaining this is that things sometimes don't appear as we understand them to be. And an attachment to one's wife or to one's husband brings you back into the material world because the Grihastha ashram is only time bound. One's personal ability to adopt vairagya or renunciation is to the degree that one transitions through the varna and ashram system. You see? So sometimes when you get to an old age, it's disrespectful to pass judgment, but Krishna's expectation is that married life comes to an end. One of the greatest weaknesses, especially of parents, perhaps parents who are from Indian origin as well, is to try to see their children to be successful and the children never to make a mistake. And in that spirit, the parents live for the rest of their life with their children and die with their children. That's a breach of Krishna's expectations. Let the next generation make mistakes. Let them reap the benefits and the disadvantages of their own karma. Based upon what you have taught them, let them now execute their life. At some point, the parents have to detach themselves from their children. You must detach yourself from your business, from your work. You have to take vanaprastha. You have to retire. If you don't retire, you are not following the varna ashram system. You are attached to your family. You are not attached to Krishna. It is just lip service. You have to accept vairagya. And if you're from the Brahmin Varna, there's more expectations. After Vanaprastha, where you dedicate your entire day and night in focusing purely on reviving your relationship with Krishna, contemplating your service to Krishna, so much so that at the time of death, you're simply transferred to Goloka. You can't go to the spiritual world simply by praying. You have to be in an active relationship with Krishna. And the only way you can do that is after your services are complete, you must focus on cultivating your relationship with Krishna in an active way. And then, sadatad bhava bhavitaha, when your consciousness is absorbed in serving Krishna, then you naturally, your subtle body naturally dissolves. The Vishnu Dutas naturally appear. And you just continue on in your consciousness. If your consciousness is not engaged in carrying out your service to Krishna, then your consciousness cannot be transferred to the spiritual world. And you can't do this by having a social life. Even amongst devotees. Think carefully. Social life, even amongst devotees, has to at some points turn inwards. You have to stop management. You have to stop fixing solutions. Because why? In the material world, you're always going to have problems. You're never going to fix the world. That's the nature of the material world. Our Brahma Bhuvana Loka. This place is full of anxiety. You do your service according to your time, but then there is a time where you retire from everything. The society is not requiring you to give up your life preaching. The society is established very well. The best preaching today, when there is a lot of competition out there in the market, especially in India, is your example. As a brahmachari, what is your example? Are you aspiring for social media followers? Or are you aspiring to set an example of purity? Nadanam, najanam, nasundarim. Are you showing an example of vairagya? Do you know the Veda mantras? Have you studied Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita? Are you able to teach others? Are you learning enough to be able to guide yourself if you become a grihastha? As a grihastha, do you know your vows? What are they? Repeat them to me. If you're not able to do that, you have a problem that only you can solve. I'm not interested in solving your problem. But it's a common problem that grihasthas have that we have to address. Time is not the 1960s anymore. We are in a very advanced stage where only your example is going to be the biggest preaching tool. People will turn to Krishna when they see your life is perfect in the sense of your efforts to follow Bhagavad Gita. Are you carrying out your ashram purely? Because the system has been established in such a way that souls become attracted, conditioned souls become attracted to the science of Krishna when somebody follows them. And these attachments have to come to an end at a certain time so that you can then spend the rest of your life cultivating your relationship with Krishna. And if you don't, you come back as a invisible Pret, Pishach, Gandharva, Yaksha, Rakshas. And trust me, the universal population is a lot more in Bhuvarlok than Bhulok. Then after that, we have Svarglok. What Svarglok, Bhuvarlok, and Bhulok have in common is that all of them are karma bhumi. This is where the laws of karma predominate. In Bhuvarlok, you have high karma. In Swaraglok, you have piety of karma. And these are the three places that Agni purifies through the mouth of Anantasesh by burning it. And then Vayu, the hurricanes appear in order to agitate the oceans. And then Jal, water, is then covering Bhur, Bhuva, and Swaraglok in order to reset it. And all of this happens while Brahma is sleeping. That is the main point of this verse. Now, because the fire reaches up to Swaraglok, the next planet, which is Janalok, gets heated, but it doesn't get burnt. This is an important point to mention. And because Janalok gets heated, this is why the individuals who live in the Janalok, in the Maharlok, I'm so sorry, I got it mixed up. In the Mahalok, which is the rishis, such as Brigu Adayaha, they then transfer themselves from Maharlok to Janalok in order to escape being heated by the fire that's burning the three loks, Bhur, Bhuva, and Swaraglok. Okay, this is how the verse is explaining. And then you can understand Swaraglok to be like the first floor of an elevator. And then you have ground floor, and you have the lower levels, Earth, and then the hellish planets. Now, from Maharlok, which is now going to be the second floor, the rishis then make their way up into Janalok. Now, Janalok is where karma does not predominate, like in Maharlok, but it is tapasya. Tapasya is what drives the upper planetary systems instead of karma. And in the Janalok, you have the mind-born sons of Lord Brahma, such as the 4 Kumaras who live there. They are untouched by material agitation, and they are mixed with jnana and bhakti, but ultimately they are heading towards pure devotional service. And then above Janalok, we then have Tapalok. And in Tapalok, you have perfected sages meditating and engaging in austerities to attain Krishna consciousness. So they can also be transferred after their life ends. And over here, instead of Karma Mishra Bhakti, they then are predominated by dhyana. And the Loka above this is then the planet of Lord Brahma, which is called Satyalok. And Satyalok is made up of liberated souls, such as Narad, Marichi. And in their liberated stage, their next platform, their next stage of life will be the Vaikuntha Loks. So in this way, the vertical Loka ladder exists. And this is how the fire from Sankarshana only reaches up to the Swaraglok. The Mahamantra descends from the very top of the Loka ladder, Satyalok, goes beyond that, beyond the Viraja Viva, beyond the Vaikuntha planets, into Goloka Vrindavan. The Vedas explain, Dwaparante narado brahmanam jagam katham, Bhagwan gam paretan kilim santarayamiti, Sahovacha brahma sadhu prishtosmi, Sarvashuti rahasyam gopyam tachrino, Yena kali samsaram tarishyasi, Bhagavata adi purushasya naranasya namochal matrena nirdhut kalir bhavati. At the end of Dwapar Yuga, Narad approached his father Brahma in Satyalok. Now you understand the Loka ladder? And he said to Lord Brahma, I'm looking down at the material universe, and I can see that in Kali Yuga, people are going to have a great difficulty in trying to revive their relationship with Krishna. What is the solution? Then Brahma explains, Bhagavata Adi Purushasya Narayanasya. They should worship the origin of Lord Narayana. Bhagavat Adi Purushasya Narayanasya Nam Ucharna Matrena Nirdhut Kalir Bhavati. If you chant the name of the origin of Narayana, they will remain protected from agitation in Kali. Narad is confused. If you said Narayana, end of conversation. But you're saying Bhagavat Adi, the origin of Narayana. So Narad asked, Narada Punna Papricha Tannam Kimiti. What is that name of the person who is the origin of Narayana? And Lord Brahma recites, Haranyagarbha Vacha, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Iti Sharoshaka Nam Nam, Kali Kalimeshanashanam, Nataha Parataropaya, Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. Brahma explains these 16 words. They are the personal ecstasy of Shri Radharani. This is not just some mantra. You have to be very careful to understand that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is a Veda mantra. There is a misunderstanding in ISKCON that the Mahamantra is not a Veda mantra, therefore you can do what you want. There is a misunderstanding in ISKCON that Diksha is Pancharatrika. It's not true. It's Veda mantras. Therefore, you have to take it very seriously. you should be very careful to not underestimate what Srila Prabhupada has given. Because if you underestimate what Prabhupada has given, or if I understand what Prabhupada has given, then you're unable to reap the benefit, the purposes of what he gave us. Kali Kalimeshanashanam. This Mahamantra, because it descends from Sri Radharani's personal heart, therefore it can destroy all impediments. That is why Nataha Parataro Upaya. There is no better solution than this. Because Sarve Vedeshu Drishyate. All the Vedas have this conclusion. Sri Radharani manifests as the Mahamantra at the time when she is in extreme, painful separation from Krishna. In the Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 30th chapter, when Lord Krishna left Sri Radharani after taking her away from the Rasa Leela, and then Sri Radha was carried by Lord Krishna, as Shukdev Goswami explains in the 10th canto, 30th chapter, 29th chapter. Then she said to Krishna, I'm tired, carry me. Krishna said, fine, mount this tree. It was a Ashwata. When Krishna says in the Gita, Ashwataha, Sarvikshanam, he says this because Sri Radharani stepped onto this tree. People say, where is Radharani in the Gita? She's everywhere. Tumko nahi pata. Right? You don't know. She's everywhere. Krishna says so many things in the Gita because of Sri Radharani. When she stepped on the Ashwata tree, then Krishna bowed down. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that at that time, Radharani was about to mount Krishna's back. He hid under her chunni, under her veil. And Sri Radharani couldn't find Krishna. Where has Krishna gone? Krishna promised me that he'll carry me. And he's vanished. He was just hiding underneath her chunni. And then Sri Radharani, she grabbed the Ashwata tree and she hugged the tree. And while hugging the tree, she then called Krishna in a name that nobody has ever called him by. This is Sri Radharani's personal name to Krishna that no one knows. No Acharya, no Gopi, no liberated soul has ever called Krishna by the name that Sri Radharani called him by. In the mood of separation, she shouted out, Hanath Ramana Prashtha Kwasi Kwasi Mahabhuja Dasyaste Kripanayame Sakhe Darshaya Sannidhim. My personal lover, Raman. The word Raman, which is the name in the Maha Mantra, is the pet name of Sri Radharani to Krishna. No one calls him Raman apart from Sri Radharani. Hanath Ramana Prashtha, where are you? Where are you? O mighty armed Krishna who embraces me. Kwasi Kwasi Mahabhuja Dasyaste. I am your servant. This is why better than Radhe Radhe is Krishna Krishna. Because Sri Radharani, Dasyaste Kripanayame. I am your servant. Sakhe, I am your best friend. Darshaya, give me your darshan, O Raman. Sannidhim. Sannidhim is the word we all use during Pran Pratishtha. Every deity is installed based on this mantra that Sri Radharani used in the Srimad Bhagavatam to call Lord Krishna when he vanished under her chunni, under her veil. After Sri Radharani called Krishna Raman, it took 4,500 years for Sri Ramanlal to appear. Sri Radharani waited. The Krishna who appeared on the banks of the Yamuna was not the Raman that she called out to. This is why Sri Radharani's sister, Ananga Sakhi, Ananga Devi, she went looking for the Raman that Sri Radharani had called 4,500 years earlier, in the form of Shripad Gopal Bhatt Goswami Pad. And when he reached Vrindavan, he saw the tree that Shri Radharani had hugged. And he sat under that tree. And that is when he heard from Mahaprabhu the voice, go to Gandaki river. You will find me there. The story is a very long katha, which we don't have time for now. But essentially, when on the day after of Narsimha Chaturdashi, when Gopal Bhatta Goswami cried the entire night, saying, Stambhe sabhayam namrigam namanusham, Stambhe sabhayam namrigam namanusham, Stambhe sabhayam namrigam namanusham. If you can come from a pillar, why can't you come from this shila? If you can come from a pillar, why can't you come from this shila? His disciples were reciting Narsimha Katha on Narsimha Chaturdashi, and he cried the entire night. And when he woke up in the morning, a flash of light manifested from the 12-inch Damodar Shila, the same length in which Shri Radha Raman Lal manifested. And then Rupa Goswami came, and he said, this is the tree where Shri Radharani had cried out 4,500 years earlier to Raman. This is the Raman that Shri Radharani had invoked and manifested through your hands. Therefore, Rupa Goswami Pad done his namakaran, and he's the person who named him Shri Radha Raman. That is how he got his name. Final point, Raman, Shri Radha Raman, he is the Ishtadev of the Gaudiya Samaj. Because Gopinath, Govindadev and Madan Mohan, these were Purva Samstapik. Vajranabh had already installed them. Vajranabh had created them many, many centuries ago, to the end of Dwapar Yuga. This is why Kaviraj Goswami explains that 18 Thakur Gaudiya Karane Atmashat. They were incorporated in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, the 10 Thakurs. But Shri Radha Raman Lal is the Ishtadev of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, which is why this deity of Shri Radha Raman Dev, it is his name which is in the Mahamantra, and in the Mahamantra is the most precious and intimate name that Shri Radharani calls Lord Krishna, and that is the name that Srila Prabhupada has given to all of us, by which we can regain our eternal Krishna consciousness. There is so much more to explain on the Mahamantra, but essentially, the name Raman is actually the name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is also another misunderstanding. When Gopal Bhatta Goswami and the Bhakti Ratnakar was crying, remembering his services to Mahaprabhu over 4 months in Srirangam. Only 2 months ago, we had the great opportunity to be in the room where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu slept for 4 months. And that room is still promoting the absolute power and grace that Mahaprabhu had invested for 4 months in that very room near the Srirangam temple. We followed the footsteps and we found the room where he stayed. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was worshipped by Gopinath Goswami and served for 4 months, carrying his water pot to the Kaveri, making his prasad, serving him prasad, putting him to sleep. And this way, Gopal Bhatta Goswami was once crying, here I am serving Shri Radha Raman Dev, and before my father Venkat Bhatt had asked me to only worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what do I do? And that is when Bhakti Ratnakar explains that Shri Radha Raman Dev showed his true form as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shri Radha Raman Dev is Radha Krishna Nahi Anya, which is why when you look from the right, you see Krishna. You look from the center, you see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You look from the left, you see Shri Radharani. And Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is the Ishtadev, the Devata of the Mahamantra, because ultimately he is the combined form of Shri Radha and Krishna. This is a very deep subject matter which requires a lot of time to explain and cover. But if you understand from this perspective, you will appreciate what Srila Prabhupada has given us and how it is very important that every day we worship the Mahamantra as the sole manifestation of Sri Radharani's cry to Lord Krishna in the manifestation of form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in this way, even if the universes get burnt, we can be rest assured that even next life or the life after life, we can continue our services to Krishna and ultimately reach the supreme destination. This, in my opinion, is the meaning of these two verses. Thank you so much for listening. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very, very much, Prabhuji. We are really blessed to hear such eloquent and such lucid explanation of this verse. And also, you inspired all of us to hear more about Hare Krishna Mahamantra and such deep subject matter. You have really made our entire this Bhagavatam class so inspired that we are looking forward to hear from you more and more. Hare Krishna. So let's express our gratitude to Prabhuji by loudly chanting 3 times. Haribo! Haribo! Hari! Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
समय तो कम हो जाता है